It's time to get your geek on with Dave Gremillion.
Yes, indeed. It is Saturday night, San Antonio, and we are here to get our geek on. I am David Gremillion. Welcome to the show here on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, where we will talk Star Wars. We will talk Star Trek in a big way. We will talk DC, Marvel, video gaming, really all things geek that have dominated this little world of ours. Geek is not really what it was 20 or 30 years ago. Geek is now in. Geek is very much in. It's not about playing Dungeons and Dragons, off in a closet somewhere praying that no one finds out about it or they'll take your lunch money. Now it's people wearing Dungeons and Dragon t-shirts, wearing, t-shirts with 20-sided dice on them, and they're doing it everywhere. Geek is very much in, and that's why we are here. That is why you are here, to get your geek on right here with us live on AM radio and here at 9:30 a.m. The Answer and www.930amtheanswer.com, where you will also find the most listened to local podcast in all of 9:30 a.m. The Answer. Love it, love it, love it. All righty. Let me go over my checklist, make sure I have everything. I don't even want to. I'm excited about tonight's show. I really am. This show, I'm pumped for it. But I want to make sure I have everything that I need in order to run a successful and efficient show. Do I have something to drink? I got to have a refreshing beverage here. And wet's my whistle. Thank you very much. I got to have a back scratcher. Too many radio shows go like 3 hours without a back scratcher, and I mean that would just drive me crazy. You got to have something there to get that spot right in the middle of your back. There we go. And of course, yes, I have changed the batteries. I have tested it out. I do indeed have Old Blue right here with me. Well, wouldn't that have been embarrassing if I said I had it, I changed the batteries and all worked, and it didn't? Oh, well. That's why I am quickly turning into the consummate professional. Love it, love it, love it. All right, so what do we have coming up? Texas Comic-Con is underway here in San Antonio. We're going to talk about that for a little bit. I want to talk about what's coming up. July is ending. July is our first full month on the air as the only AM talk radio show that talks geek in all of America. And I want to talk about what's coming up next month in the month of August. We are going to have guests. Yes, indeed, guests on the show, but I'll tell you who's coming up there. Star Wars Night at Wolf Stadium's coming up. I'm going to talk about that in a big way as well, including how you can go for free. Okay. Also, I've seen Star Trek Beyond. Finally. Last week on the show, I said that I wasn't all that hyped for it. Yeah, I'm going to give you my review here in a minute. Let's see if it paid off or not. And Disney's in trouble. Well, kind of. It's a Disney subsidiary. They've been sued. They've been found negligent, and they're going to have to pay up. We'll talk about what happened there. The Black Widow movie bandwagon just got a little bit bigger. This seems to come around on this show like every couple of weeks. There's news about a Black Widow movie. And once again, we have more news about that in a big way. And if I can get to it, if time permitting, because I kind of screwed up last week. Time permitting, I want to talk about Sega versus Nintendo. The rivalry is back. But I want to make room for a double dose of the Sarlacc Pit. Ran out of time last week when we were talking about the J.J. Abrams Trek movies. And didn't get to the Sarlacc Pit. And yeah, I did catch a little flack for that. Sorry, but we're going to make up for it tonight. Double dose. I have 5 minutes of time set aside. I want to do the Sarlacc Pit because it's the most fun part of the show. It really is. Not that we don't have fun for the rest of it, but it's the Sarlacc Pit. Everybody loves that segment. All right, so we got the checklist. We got the preview coming up here. All right, so let's dig into this here. Texas Comic-Con is here officially at last. It was here Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I was there earlier today. And I hope to be there tomorrow as well, time permitting, schedule permitting. I mean, things happen, life happens. I got to do laundry and dishes. If I leave the wife to do all the housework, she's going to kill me. So, I got to get some stuff done around the house. Which means also convention season it's been underway for a while now. We had the San Diego Comic-Con not too long ago. E3 before that, and so on. But now it's really getting interesting locally here, San Antonio, because the Texas Comic-Con is always nice to go to. The Alamo City Comic-Con is not that far away when you think about it. It's October. And I know. I look at my lawn, and my lawn tells me, hey, it's summertime. Yeah, but August is literally right here. Next thing you know, it's going to be Labor Day and the kids are back to school, and then it's going to be October. Yeah, it's going to be here before you know it. And Comic-Cons are fun. I do love a good Comic-Con. I really do. The cosplayers are epic. There's always events. There's always vendors. There's always artists, which, is not so good around my house because I kind of run out of wall space. But there's always more out there that I want. So I'm looking forward to just immersing myself in the local Comic-Con culture. That'll be a lot of fun. Plus, after the Alamo City Comic-Con in October, PAX in January. That's right around the corner. So this is going to be a fun 5 or 6 or so months. Okay. Also coming up, in addition to the Comic-Con extravaganza, Star Wars Night at the Wolf. Yes, this was fun last year. It's going to be fun this year as well. I went last year, and it was a blast. I had such a good time out there. This year, it's officially the Star Wars Night brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association. They're going to be raising a lot of money for that very, very noble cause. And here's the thing. It's Saturday, August 6th, so it's not this Saturday, but next Saturday. I am giving away 4 packs of tickets. Oh, yes. You want a 4-pack of tickets? You want to bring the kids out? You want to really have a great time? I'll be giving them away on the Facebook page, facebook.com/GYGO official. You have to go to the Facebook page. I'm not gonna do it live. I'm not gonna do anything like that, but I'll give them out on the Facebook page. I will pick winners off of a post. I'll make a post. All you have to do, just comment on the post. Oh, God, yes, I want tickets to the Star Wars Night at the Wolf. And no problem. We'll get you taken care of. I will pick at random who gets the tickets. So it's not first come, first serve. So if you're not one of the first ones there, don't worry about it. I will pick at random. I got a little random number generator that I got off of Google, and I'll just, use that to randomly pick. Okay. So that'll be, that's coming up there. Goose, did you want to add something to that?
Is Goose eligible for the giveaway?
No.
Dang it.
I hope you go, though. I mean, the more the merrier, and seats are cheap anyway, so it's not that big a deal. But not eligible for the free tickets. But it's a nice try, though. Kudos for
can't hurt to ask.
Points for effort. All right, so facebook.com/GYGO official for all the details regarding that. Last year they had 7,274 people there. Over 7,000 people showed up for Star Wars Night last year. Hope that they'll have more for this year. They're going to have members of the 501st Legion will be there. So, Albin, if you're listening, Albin Johnson, a good friend of mine over at the 501st, he'll have his reps out there. The Saber Guild will be present. Members from the Rebel Legion will also be in attendance. They will stop for photos. They will stop for, to say hi. If you want to try dueling one of them, good luck. But they'll have plenty of cosplayers there. Players and coaches will be wearing special Star Wars jerseys for this game, and they will be auctioned off during the game, benefiting the Alzheimer's Association. No, they will not just take it off right there in the third inning and throw it to you. It doesn't work that way. You will get to auction off. They're going to auction off during the game, and then you can pick them up afterwards, hopefully after they've been through the washing machine. It's August in South Texas. I'm sorry, guys. That's just kind of the way it rolls. Okay, so they've got, all right, so what are we talking about? Cosplayers, big event, lots of people. Make sure you go early so you can, get parking. And fireworks after the show. Stick around for the show. They are going to have fireworks, and the Saber Guild will be putting on a dueling exhibition in the outfield during the fireworks. I mean, I don't know how much more we can add to this to be just freaking awesome, because it is. Fireworks, cosplayers, dueling, Star Wars, auctions and jerseys, auctions for jerseys during the game, and it all goes to benefit the Alzheimer's Association, and you get free tickets. I'm giving away tickets to go to this. So check out the Facebook page. It'll be a lot of fun. Let's hang out. Let's have a hot dog, some peanuts and Cracker Jacks, and, go missions. If you don't want the free tickets, or you listen too late and I already picked somebody, for the 4-packs.
Or your goose.
Sorry about that. You can still go. For $15, you'll get a ticket and a lightsaber. That's still a pretty sweet deal, considering that most tickets are like $7 to $10 anyway, I think. Don't quote me on that one. For $15, you'll get a ticket and a lightsaber. So come on out. Come out to the Wolf. For some of y'all, maybe it's a little out of the way. For some of y'all, maybe you don't like baseball. For some of you, maybe you don't like Star Wars. And for that one person that we're talking to, okay, maybe you like baseball instead. That's okay. Come on out. Come on out to the Wolf. We're going to have a good time. I'll be there. Goose probably won't be there. We'll see. But come on out to the Wolf. We're going to have a good time. Okay, so Star Trek Beyond. Yes, we're going to be talking some Star Trek here. Let me just say, last week I said I wasn't all that hyped. And I was wrong. Let's talk some Star Trek.
Yeah, if you see Klingons, better make sure that your face is brown. And if you're in the fleet, rep your uniform, cause it's future chic. All the haters know, we got photon torpedoes. Throw the Vulcan up if you're not from Romulus, and stay with me now, live long and prosperous.
Just beat me up, Scott, eh? Just beat me up, Scott.
Oh, yeah. Love it. This segment here brought to you by our friends over at Alamo City Comics. They're on 281 North, right near Brook Hollow. They have action figures. They have collectibles. They have art. They have movie posters, comics, old, new, stuff from the 70s, 80s, stuff that came out last week. You want to check out my friends over at Alamo City Comics and tell them you want to get your geek on. Just walk up and say, yes, I'm here to get my geek on. They have like sets of Dragon Balls. I love those things. They have a lot of toys when I was growing up. Way back in the 80s, and yeah, I have to say that. Some of you will roll your eyes and say, oh, I was in the 70s. And a lot of you will say, wow, back in the 20th century. Well, Alamo City Comics has those toys as well, so be sure to check them out. Okay. Yeah, Star Trek Beyond was really good. Really good. I'd give it probably like 8.5 out of 10 phasers. Yeah, I'm not going to do the whole stars thing. This is a geek show. 8.5 out of 10 phasers. Wow. Just wow. First of all, let me just say how blown away I was by the effects, which is rare to say nowadays, because in the world where we have Avatar, not The Last Airbender, the one with the blue monkeys, and we have Star Wars, and we have so much, the other Treks were visually breathtaking as well, but this one went above with the Yorktown Starbase.
You mean this one went beyond, right?
And that'll be the last time Goose talks tonight. Okay, thank you, Goose. Yeah, the Yorktown Starbase, if Arthur C. Clarke, Heinlein, and Asimov all got together and designed a starbase, this would be it. The only thing I was thinking was, wow, my dad would love this. My dad is a huge, he's a sci-fi purist. You know, he watches Star Wars and all that, but man, I mean, he's big into classic sci-fi, 2001, 2010. And all I could think of watching the Yorktown was, oh my God, he would love this. The Yorktown Starbase, it's like a Dyson sphere. It is incredible. I've never seen anything like it on film ever. Ever. It blows away what they did in Ender's Game with the whole battle school and command school. No. This is mind-bogglingly awesome. I loved the Yorktown Starbase. I like the little homage they did to Leonard Nimoy and his death and all that sort of thing. And of course, seeing Chekhov up there is a little heart-wrenching. But we have, I don't really want to give away too much, but I'm going to give away too much. We have ourselves a spoiler alert incoming.
Red alert. All hands stand to battle stations.
What is this? Shields up! Red alert! Shields! Shields!
Red alert.
All right, so there's your spoiler alert warning right there. You've had your chance. You've had your warning. Come back to us after the break, because I'm going to talk the heck out of this movie. Oh, my Lord. All right, so Spock dies. Kind of. The older Spock dies, which is a nice tribute to Leonard Nimoy, and it's one of the two big character arc moments. In this movie, Spock has an arc where he realizes, oh my God, Ambassador Spock is dead. I am dead. I need to carry on his work, leave Starfleet, and go make little Vulcan babies. Because remember, there's only about 10,000 of them left in the galaxy. That's it. Remember, in the first movie, he said he was a member of an endangered species, and he was right. And even Bones says, he's like, yeah, that's kind of what you should be doing. But he doesn't want to leave Kirk. He doesn't want to leave Starfleet. This is what he's been looking forward to his whole life, so he's torn by this. Kirk has his own arc. Well, actually, he had about an arc and a half. The half of an arc, I'm going to explain this a little bit. Yeah, he kind of has a Star Trek II moment where he and Bones get together and they have a couple of drinks, and he discusses about how he's getting older. In The Wrath of Khan, Kirk did the same thing, only he was like in his 40s, maybe. I'm not sure how old Shatner was at the time, but maybe in his early 50s, late 40s. And Kirk was talking about how he was getting older. He was no longer the guy who was in the original series in the 60s. He was feeling his age, and he wasn't sure how to come to grips with his age. Now, Kirk, the younger, played by Chris Pine, is dealing with his age in a different way, in that he's a year older than his dad ever got to be. And yeah, that could mess with somebody's head a little bit. That's kind of creepy when you think about it. It's just kind of unsettling. But that arc never really went anywhere. There was no resolution for it at the end. The full arc that he had was Kirk making a career choice. He wanted to become an admiral and run the Yorktown station. It's right there at the edge of the frontier. It's the most advanced starbase they have. Kirk wants to run it, and he has the credentials to do it because this is 3 years after Into Darkness, so he's gotten a few more accolades for himself. Of course, the one thing that bugged me is that he would skip a rank. He'd become a vice admiral instead of a rear admiral first. Actually, he skipped 2 ranks because in Starfleet lore, there's 2 rear admirals. There's lower half and upper half, and then there's the vice admiral. So he'd skip, well, I guess it's not a big deal since he skipped every rank to become captain of the Enterprise. So I guess that's not such a big deal. Why don't you just make him president of the Federation while you're at it? I mean, might as well. But that has a resolution at the end where Kirk, he realizes that sitting in a starbase isn't that much fun, and it's not what he wants to do. He's still a young man. Oh my God, did I find the other half of the arc? Yeah, it wouldn't explain too well, but maybe that's part of the charm and the subtlety of it all. Literally, I'm coming to this like right now. Look, here are my show notes. Okay, well, you can't look, but that's okay. Here are my show notes. I don't actually have this. I'm coming up with this on the fly. The other half of the arc, where I thought they dropped the whole age thing, was where Kirk realizes that he's older than his dad ever got to be, but he's still a young man. He's not ready for the admiral's chair. He still has a lot of years of what Bones would call gallivanting around the galaxy. He's not ready to sit in the admiral's chair yet because he's too young. He's older than his dad, but he's still Jim Kirk. Ooh, he's not George, he's Jim. Oh, I love it. Wow, that's awesome. All right, so there's some character building moments there. The witty banter between Bones, Spock, and Kirk, they nailed it. It was good before. Don't get me wrong, it was good before. But it's perfect. This is the kind of camaraderie I was begging for between Obi-Wan and Anakin in the prequels. It really was. Tasty. Obi-Wan and Anakin never had the bond, never even came close to having the bond that Kirk, Spock, and Bones have in this movie. It's wonderful. It's tremendous. The destruction of the Enterprise. Okay, so we knew that was coming in from the trailer, and that's what actually kind of bummed me out, was it's like, okay, yeah, more destruction of the Enterprise. It does happen for me a little too fast and a little too easily. At least they put up a fight. But it's like within the first 20 minutes of the movie, there goes the Enterprise. And it's like, ooh, okay. When they destroyed the Enterprise in the other 2 movies, Star Trek 3 and Star Trek Generations, when they destroyed those 2, it was toward the end of the movie. So there was some build-up there. And when they blew it up in Star Trek 3, it was a huge shock to everyone. I mean, they'd never done that before. I mean, imagine blowing up the Millennium Falcon. What? It wouldn't happen. So here, it just happens so early and so quick. And it's kind of weird because, the ship is literally falling apart all around them, but yet they're still able to maneuver and run around and, run around the ship, even though there's holes of it everywhere. It looks kind of like Swiss cheese. But okay, all right. A little plot contrivance, a little stretching of things. I'm okay with that. the way it was done was brilliant. The effects, fantastic. Just really, really well done. Now, here's the thing that I've been harping on for a while. If you've listened to the show, even for like, a couple of shows, you know that I love villains that are good, that are really well written. And Star Trek hasn't had that in the last 2 movies. Admiral Marcus was not a good villain. Nero was an awful villain. I really didn't like him at all. But this guy, and I sat through the first 2/3 of the movie thinking, oh, God, this guy sucks. Oh, God, this guy sucks. This makes no sense. Where's your motivation? What are you doing this for? Oh, this is where the frontier pushes back. What does that even mean? It's good for the trailer, but what's going on? And then the end comes and you're like, whoa. Oh, okay. And we get back to the fundamentals of Star Trek, which is military versus exploration and peacekeeping. That's what I really like about it. And they've done it before. They've done it a bunch of times before. Is Starfleet a military force, or are they peacekeeping, science, and exploration? They did this in the first, the first season or second season of Next Generation, when Riker takes command of the Hathaway in these war games between the Enterprise and the Hathaway. And I want to say it was season 2. Goose is nodding his head fervently, as he should. Even if I were wrong, he should nod anyway. So
Peak Performance was the name of the episode.
Thank you, Peak Performance. I knew it was. I kept wanting to say Perks or something, but I knew it was off the tip of my tongue. And Riker comes out and says, "Yeah, hi, we're on the flagship of the Federation with these massive phaser banks and photon torpedoes, but we're not a military organization. No, not really." And that goes. So that's back in the 80s. But, in the original series, of course, Kirk's ship was a battle cruiser. That's what it was classified as. So it goes back to the very beginning, the essence of what is Starfleet, and I really like that. Kind of a downer for me was Uhura. She gets dragged around from place to place on the planet just so that he can spout exposition to somebody. And by he, I mean the villain. The only reason he's dragging her around is to show off what the weapon can do, to show what he can do, to show what kind of powers he has, and to show off and to show off and to show off to the audience. That's the only reason she's there. So that kind of bugged me a little bit. They just drag her around to give her something to do and give her some screen time. That was it. They had the one little mini breakout scene, but it proved out to be useless anyway. It didn't really matter. All right. So the movie made $102 million worldwide in just 4 days. Which you think, wow, that's really impressive. Yeah, it's down 15% from what Into Darkness did. I don't know if it's burnout. If people are just, or maybe, I don't know, because the critics liked it and the word of mouth was pretty good on it from social media. I'm not sure what happened there, but down 15%. It's still 15%.
I think a lot of it is, kind of resentment hangover from Into Darkness. However, week 2 may be better. Yeah,
that's true, because a lot of people were saying, there's actual backlash against the JJ verse or the Kelvin timeline. There's some backlash there after Into Darkness. And, actually after the first movie as well. So it may be, or it could be a little bit of burnout. But the overall point I want to make here, we're getting ready to head to break. Don't forget, after the break, we've got some Star Wars news regarding Harrison Ford and also the Black Widow movie. There's more news on that. That's after the break. But the main point I want to make about Star Trek Beyond is I was wrong. I fully admit it. It wasn't like I said last week, which you can check the podcast at 930amtheanswer.com. The podcast is there. You can listen. I didn't say I was going to hate the movie, and I didn't say that the movie was going to bomb or it'd be awful, but I wasn't hyped for it. I was very skeptical about it because of how it looked on the trailer. And I was proven wrong, and I was happily proven wrong because it was so good. It was a really well-done movie. I encourage y'all to go see it. If you haven't seen it yet, please do so in the theater. I'm sure it'll look great on Netflix. I'm sure it'll look good on, back at home or something like that. But see this in the theater because of the Yorktown. I'm not kidding. The Starbase was fantastic. I wish they'd spent more time there, and they spent a good chunk of time there. But oh my God, I wanted to see this thing, just even more. So kudos on them for. Sure enough. Kudos on them for creativity, originality, and bringing sci-fi back. One of the things that kind of bugs me about Star Wars is that it's not science fiction. It's not. But Star Trek is science fiction. Star Trek lives and breathes science fiction. And although Star Trek Discovery seems to be taking kind of a step back with their ship design, have you seen how ugly that thing is? Good Lord. It's nice to see they had some creativity here. I applaud them for that. Justin Lin, sir, good job on that movie. All right, so got to take a quick break, but don't worry, we'll be back with Star Wars news, Black Widow news, and a whole lot more coming up after this. Welcome back. Okay. Love it. If you're going to do a geeky show, yeah, you're going to do geeky music, but throw in some Hendrix. I love it. Oh, goodness. Speaking of which, speaking of music, I don't see any reason to delay. Let's just dive right into it. We got ourselves some Star Wars news we want to talk about here.
I'm looking forward to completing your training. In time, you will call me Master.
Alrighty. So, the headline that I read in this story, and this came out of The Guardian over in the UK, is that Star Wars pleads guilty. Guilty as charged, I say. Yeah, it's not really Star Wars. But it is Disney-related, and this goes way back to the hysteria surrounding The Force Awakens. Okay, so Disney has many subsidiaries. This is well known. One of them is called Foodles Production. Try not to laugh too hard at the name. Foodles Production. If you remember, if you go back to, what is it, like 2014, 2013, when the hype around The Force Awakens was getting huge, everybody thought that Harrison Ford had been killed on set. And I'm not kidding you. I actually read a report back when this came out where people said that, oh my God, Harrison Ford had been killed on set. Then I heard, no, he hadn't been killed, but he's been horrifically injured on set, and he was medevaced out, to a hospital. Then I heard that, no, he just kind of broke a leg. No, he broke both legs. No, he broke a hip. I mean, the reports were just wild coming off the set. Well, it turns out he did break his leg. He broke, I think it was the tibia or the fibula. I'm not sure. I'm not a medical expert. Sorry about that. And it turns out now that they have a court in the UK has decided that the Foodles production I'm trying not to laugh. I'm really not. Foodles production was at fault at the time. The company responsible has pled guilty to 2 breaches under the health and safety legislation. A health and safety executive described the weight of the Millennium Falcon door that came crashing down on Harrison Ford's leg was comparable to that of a small car. The door, as you know, is run by hydraulics. That's how it opens and it closes, unlike the Star Trek original series where I think they just had it on a pulley system or something. But this thing actually closed with hydraulics, and it closed on Harrison Ford a little too soon and whap, got his leg. And they're saying that they're responsible. Now, Harrison Ford said, and I'm quoting him directly, "The door came down and hit me on my left hip because I was turned to my right. And then it flung my left leg up and dislocated my ankle as it drove me down to the floor. My legs slapped on the ramp up to the Millennium Falcon and broke both bones in my left leg." So his ankle's dislocated. He broke both bones in his left leg. He was slapped. He was flipped. He was just all over the place. And he goes on. Now we had lots of money in technology. So they built a great hydraulic door which closed at light speed. And somebody said, "Ooh, I wonder what this is." And apparently that's how the accident happened. See, back in the day, the Millennium Falcon's hydraulic door probably wasn't hydraulic back in the 70s when George didn't really have that much of a budget. But now they're dumping $200 million into movies. They can afford the hydraulics. Yeah. He's not pleased that happened. He had to be taken back to the States where he recouped for about 6 weeks. It did not delay, like many people thought it would, it did not delay the release date of The Force Awakens, and the rest, as we know, is history. Yeah. Now, I can. It was an accident. These things happen. But it's nice to know that at least they're holding the company accountable because, yes, it was an accident, but it was preventable. It was easily preventable. And when you have actors on the set of a film you have to be careful with what you do, because it hit him with the force of a small car. You have to be careful with this. Not just, I mean, if it were Daisy Ridley, it'd be the same thing. Harrison Ford is 112 years old. Harrison Ford's 112 years old. And, those bones, I mean, he needs a lot of citrical to keep that up. He needs a lot of calcium D to keep his bones, intact. And it's Harrison Ford. How do you go about pushing buttons around when Harrison Ford is on the set? Oh, God. Sentencing. Now that they've pled guilty, the lawyers are hashing out with the judge about what the sentence might be or could be. That'll be handed down in about 2-3 weeks or so, and we'll probably report back on that. But, not too good. I'm sure Disney will be shielded from it somehow. Okay, it seems like this topic comes up every couple of weeks, and I think it's well-deserved. So let's go on a little bit of a rant here. Let's talk about the Black Widow movie.
This is that sequel to the smash hit with no equal. This one's for the true fans with Hulk hands and action figures. Flying, dining, saving you all in the city. Got masks on and weapons out. You won't like the Hulk when he's angry. I'm too hot, Hulk smash. Built a suit and said,
Alrighty. Now, people have been clamoring for a Black Widow movie for a long time. And the question keeps coming up, why don't we have one yet? It's becoming more and more mind-boggling as to why this hasn't happened yet, and it just got even more puzzling than before. Now, you can catch the podcast at 930amtheanswer.com, and we've talked about this, I think, a couple times now, because the news keeps coming up where somebody in Hollywood or even somebody at Marvel says, yeah, we'd like a Black Widow movie if you please. And it just doesn't happen. Now we've heard from a wide variety of people on this. And now we've heard from Joss Whedon, the director himself, the man, the myth, the legend, who directed the first 2 Avengers movies, who directed Firefly, who directed Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I mean, this guy, he is a legend. If you haven't seen Dr. Horrible yet, which I know Goose hasn't. No, you haven't. You have? Okay, you've seen that, so that's okay. He also hasn't seen The Rocketeer, which they're remaking, and you got to see the original. You also haven't read my books yet. Shame. And you haven't watched Red Letter Media's take on the prequels. I'm gonna have to check Goose's geek card here in a little bit, but okay, all right. I'm getting off topic. Okay, so Joss Whedon has come out, and he said, quote, "If someone had pointed at me and said, 'Do you want to do a Black Widow movie?' the answer would be, duh." That's his answer. Duh. Joss Whedon has said, that's basically him saying, yes, I would do, if asked, a Black Widow movie. Whedon told the website here for 2 reasons. Quote, I'm quoting him again, for 2 reasons. I think the character really is very interesting and very earthbound. So it's the kind of action that I got to do less of with somebody like Thor or The Vision. Also, Scarlett Johansson is just delightful. She's delightful. She works really hard, and she spends most of her time cracking me up, so it would be a fun shoot. Okay, the earthbound thing I can actually respect. I've often thought that a Black Widow Hawkeye movie is a no-brainer. How do you not have this movie yet? With Thor, it's all lightning and superpowers and CGI and rawr. With the Hulk, it's a lot of CGI, rawr. But with Black Widow, it's flips and kicks and spins and dresses and red hair and Scarlett Johansson and leather, and it's Scarlett Johansson. Come on now. I mean, the action scenes with her feel very real. When Thor swings a hammer, and he sends this CGI robot careening across the city, okay, that's very cool. It's very comic book-like. I can appreciate that. But when, the interrogation scene in the first Avengers movie, at the beginning of the first Avengers movie, when she takes out all those Russian guys while she's tied to a chair, is awesome. You don't see a lot of stunt work like that. So why hasn't this happened yet? Well, that's a good question. Joss Whedon is the latest in a large number, a growing number of people who want this movie. and I'm not talking about me, I'm not talking about Goose, I'm not even talking about my wife, who loves Scarlett Johansson. She'd love to see a Black Widow movie. So Joss Whedon has said that he would do it. Mark Ruffalo said, yeah, he wants it. Anthony Russo, who directed Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War, says, quote, it's a no-brainer. Joe Russo, his brother, he said he wants it. Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel, said he wants it. In fact, he said he wanted it back in Iron Man 2. He's on record back then. Now, he backtracked a little bit, but he did say in Iron Man 2, when she was first introduced, that yes, a Black Widow movie would be awesome. Well, since Iron Man 2, we've had 2 Thor movies, 3 Captain America movies. We've had Iron Man 3, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ant-Man, and 2 Avengers movies. Black Widow has appeared in guess how many movies? Marvel movies. I mean, Black Widow has appeared, count it up. Okay, I'll spot you the 2 Avengers movies. Okay, so that's at least 2. The correct answer is, high five, she's been in 5 Marvel movies so far, but she doesn't have her own. She doesn't. Now, if you ask Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel, he claims that the timing isn't right. I'm not sure what he means by that, because surely it's not, the timing's not right to have a woman movie. I mean, that's not right. What I think he means is that they have a slate of movies. They have phases of movies, right? Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. And they didn't want to shoehorn in a Black Widow movie. At least I think that's what he's alluding to.
I actually have a better theory than that. When Winter Soldier came out, Captain America was kind of looked at as the political action thriller franchise of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And a Black Widow movie may be too much like that.
Yeah, that's true, because it would be more Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It would be more...
Cloak and Dagger.
More Hydra, more of that stuff, which we got in Civil War.
When you want to take a break from Captain America, then you bring in the Black Widow, so that way you fill that political action thriller gap.
That may be, that's a good theory. I like that as far as the timing goes, because it's comic book movies. I mean, we have James Bond for the political stuff, okay, and we have Jason Bourne for the political stuff, which that movie looks pretty cool also. I mean, God, Tommy Lee Jones, yeah! Anyway, getting off topic. It's I can see what that timing is, where they bog down too much in Earth politics minutia, and we need to get back to Thor. We need to get back to Iron Man. We need to get back to superhero comic book stuff. Okay, so... Although I wish he would have just come out and said it. That'd be nice, too. I mean, this theory about timing, it is his.
Well, the whole political action genre theory, that's just mine.
Okay, we'll copyright that. We need to trademark that. So what woman superhero movies are coming out? That's the big question. Okay, so we've already had Daisy Ridley as Rey. She was the lead character in The Force Awakens. We now have Felicity Jones coming out in Rogue One. These technically aren't superhero movies, but they're blockbusters. They are mega blockbusters, so I'm kind of throwing it in there. You remember Felicity Jones, right? I rebel. Remember her. May the Force be with us. I want to count up. I want somebody to tell me, I'm going to make this a real thing. Go to facebook.com/GYJOofficial. I want to see, tell me please, count it up. How many British people are in Star Wars? All of Star Wars. Well, the movies. Let's not go, Caravan of Courage and the holiday special and all that. I want to know how many people with British accents are in all of the Star Wars movies. Put it on the Facebook page. I want to see what y'all come up with. Okay. All right. So we have that. We have Felicity Jones. So those are 2 right there. Wonder Woman movie's coming out in 2017. Saw the trailer for that. Okay. I guess. Okay. Well, whatever. Captain Marvel 2019. The first woman-led Marvel movie comes out 11 years after Iron Man in 2008 started the whole trend. 11 years. And you're doing it 2 years after DC. Not good for the feminists. Not good at all. Ant-Man and the Wasp will be out 2018. So probably the earliest we could have a Black Widow movie would be 2020. I mean, they could try to shoehorn something in there, but I don't know. Now, Scarlett Johansson will only be 35 in 2020. She's 31 now, which kind of surprised me. I thought she was older than that. She has that pin-up look. It makes her look a little more, no, I don't want to say older, because if people, they're going to get in mind like, you mean like Carrie Fisher is now? No, that's not what I mean. I mean, it's a little more mature, a little more demure kind of a look. It makes her look a little older than she is. But she'll be 35. I don't see any reason whatsoever why we can't have a Black Widow movie in 2020 or earlier. I don't see any reason for that at all. Okay, all right. Let's talk video games. Alrighty, so the rivalry is back. On the last show, which remember the podcast, you can always go back and check it. On the last show, we announced that Nintendo is coming out with a mini NES. It fits in the palm of your hand, comes with 30 games, HDMI capable, some classic, truly, wonderfully classic games. I mean, just fantastic stuff that they're going to come out with, which is good. Now Sega's coming out with theirs. Except it's not Sega. It's an officially licensed product. But Sega's not actually making it. They are calling it the Mini Mega Drive. And it will sport 80 stored games, and it'll let you plug in your original cartridges. That's good. That's awesome. So for those of y'all who have actually held on to your original Sega games, there you go. Boom. Good to go. But here's the bad news. It doesn't support HDMI. So you have to have those composite cables to make that work. And you also need to find a television that still supports composite. Now, there are some out there, like Westinghouse brands and that sort of thing. But if you have this really rocking 60, 65, 70-inch curved 4K, just fantastic looking television, and it's 2160, and I love every single pixel on it. Yeah, it may not support composites, so that may be out for you. Okay, so it's not really Sega. It's just price. It's licensed, and it's no HDMI. Yeah, and then here comes the big one. You ready? It's only available in Europe. For now, and anyway, but yeah, the only way you can get it is to be in Europe. So once again, Nintendo has won the rivalry. I remember when I was growing up, my most memorable, beyond compare, my most memorable Christmas was getting the Nintendo. And the way I got it was my grandmother actually accidentally gave me a present, and I opened it up, and it was Wizards and Warriors, the game. And me being all of 6, 7, 8 years old, I looked at this and I'm like, why are you giving me a game? I don't have the... Oh! And it wasn't supposed to happen like that, but my grandmother being, what she was, she didn't really understand the whole gaming craze, so she just gave me a present. You give the kid a present. And, okay, so my parents pulled out the Nintendo, and I just went ballistic. I mean, it was incredible. So my first game was Wizards and Warriors, which, by the way, the theme song for that, fantastic. There is a guitar cover. I need to see if I can find it. There's a guitar cover of this, and it's fantastic. It's really awesome. Good stuff. I'll put that on the Facebook page, too. Trust me, I will, because it's a great theme. So that was my first one, and I remember back in the day when Nintendo and Sega were going at it. You remember the old commercial, Sega does what Nintendo don't, because they had the Genesis came out, and it was 16-bit, while Nintendo still had the 8-bit system. Yeah, everybody I know still played the Nintendo. I think there was one kid on in my block who had a Sega, and other than playing Sonic, he was over at our place most of the time playing Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and Zelda and Mario Brothers and Mega Man and all that. No, there really were. There were some great Sega games. There really were, and I played my fair share of them. But it was always Nintendo. It always was. When the Super Nintendo came out, it was always the Super Nintendo. That was what you had all the time. And then when the N64 came out and the GameCube, you wanted to stick with Nintendo. They always had the best games. Okay, most of the time. There were some awful games. But if you go back to your childhood in the 80s, a lot of people don't remember, or let me rephrase that. They don't remember as well the Sega games as they do Ninja Gaiden, as they do Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, as they do Mario Kart, as they do Super Mario RPG or Final Fantasy. I mean, there were people that cried when they grew up playing Final Fantasy III. That opera scene, holy cow. I mean, you've got to be kidding me. And then, of course, there's the classics. When you get a little more advanced, there's GoldenEye. I mean, come on. Does it get much better than that as far as a first-person? Well, okay, yeah, there's, pretty good graphics are a little laughable now. But come on. It was so memorable. We all laughed at it back then. So once again, it looks like Nintendo has won that part. All right, so as promised, we ran out of time last week. We couldn't get to the Sarlacc pit. So let's go ahead. Let's do an extended edition now.
What's going on?
We just got to the Sarlacc pit.
What's that?
It's this disgusting, horrible creature that's worse than anything you could ever imagine.
Alrighty, for me, I want to throw Walmart into the Sarlacc pit, just all of it. I had 2 awful experiences at Walmart. First of all, they're pretty similar, so I'll be quick on this one. There are only 4 lanes open, and I kid you, I'm not exaggerating. There were only 4 lanes open. 2 of them were express. We chose the express lane nearest to us, and the person in front of us, or actually it was 2 people up, had a full cart in the 20-item or less lane. A full freaking cart. The second time I went, we chose the express lane again because the person in front of us didn't look like they had. Oh, they do have a bunch. It was just under a crate. They also had it had to have been 30 or so items, 30 or 40 items. Took forever. And then he haggles with the lady about a gift card that he has. He doesn't know the balance. So instead of, calling the 1-800 number on the back to check the balance, he goes up to customer service. No, I'm sorry. He sends the only cashier on this entire side of the store over to customer service. She has to check the balance, and guess how much was on the gift card? You'll never guess how much was on the gift card. 96 cents. 96 cents. And then he pulls out a Visa gift card. He pulls out another Walmart gift card, which apparently he knew the balance of. Oh, my God. Oh, and while we're doing this, his daughter has enough time to run all the way back to the store, all the way to the back of the store to get a pair of shoes and come back. Oh, well, let's add this on as well. So for me, take Walmart and just put them in. All right, so let's stretch it back here. Matthew Tapatio says when he went to San Diego Comic-Con on Friday, dude, he got to go to SDCC. Good on ya. The first thing I did was go to the Lionsgate booth to meet the cast of the upcoming Power Rangers movie. But a woman told us we'd need a bracelet. But there was nothing online about a bracelet required. But it turns out we didn't really need one. So for him, take that woman and throw her in for lying. Jordan Wignell from across the pond in the UK says he wants to throw in everyone who was jumping queues at Celebration. That means line cutting. Everyone wants to get in, but you're ruining other people's opportunities. Put them in. Michael McNamara says the director of Zootopia kept waiting for the movie to be great, and it barely got good. Dude, are you in the vocal minority? But okay, so be it. Put them in. Let's see. Last one from last week here. Steve Schinder says, Ezra is Snoke theories. Read Aftermath Life Debt, people. There you go. Put them in. Now I got to scroll up quick. That was last week, so I got to get to this one. Oh, scroll up. Okay, now I got to scroll back down. Rocketeer remake. Got missions tickets. Yeah, got the missions tickets. Killing Joke. That was good. All right, here we go. For this week's podcast, Anthony Sorrentino says the guy that is the host of Get Your Geek. Put him in. Gracious. Michael McNamara says anyone who drives with only the center brake light on. Get your cars checked, people. Put him in. Here's another one. Kyle Mikesell says, anyone who doesn't use a turn signal. Anyone who doesn't use a turn signal. Yeah, don't you love those people? Put them in. Reagan Hall Devor says, I would throw in my ex-husband for standing right in front of his son after not seeing him in months and not even talking or looking at him. Yeah. As a foster father, kind of, sort of, part-time, foster, when I can get kids into the house, that's disgusting. That's the worst ever, dude. He's your kid. Pay some attention to him. God almighty. Put him in. I think I got time for one more. Phil Solis is in here, and he says, people who think Pokemon Go is the oncoming end of days. Yeah, in the last show, we ended up throwing, we didn't throw him into the Starlight Pit. We talked about a group that's organizing a petition to ban Pokemon Go because, it doesn't promote family values or whatever. So for Phil, I say take those people and just put them in. All righty. So I want to give a special shout out here to Alamo City Comics and to Grawlix CMS. Grawlix CMS, for those of you who don't know, great for web artists to get your tools up onto the web, get your comics up onto the web, to get anything you would like to go onto the web. So that'll pretty much wrap it up here. Want to thank everyone for listening to us on the radio, and don't forget to get your geek on every day. Stay geeky.